I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is. It's because he is. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch.
There's something going on that we're missing.
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, whose balls is he hiding in his cheeks?
Yeah.
That's the first question I want to know. And I don't love the way he says, fierce.
Yeah.
Tim Walz's carefully polished image just cracked wide open. Tyrus didn't hold back. He went all in, pulling back the curtain and showing the side most people never see. This wasn't some random rant. It was a full-on call-out that left Walz with nowhere to run and nothing left to hide.
It's because he is. Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. Because we have to ferociously push back on this. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the out of him back. This is a weak, cruel man that takes it out and...
Tyrus didn't just wake up and casually drop Walz's name. He saw the headlines, the growing mess, and decided enough is enough. And when Tyrus says that, it doesn't sound like a soft complaint. It lands with the energy of a WWE promo, promising sparks, chaos, and no way to ignore it.
Is deeply part of it. That's one of the, I mean, I think it goes, and you can look at the reasons why we've had this sort of dialectic over the Me Too movement.
How do you fight it?
This notion
I think
of
I could kick most of their
What he's mad about is his own fault. He's mad about the image that was portrayed of him as the hunter. And who did that? You did that. We just laughed about it because the one thing you can't do is you can't front. You can't floss. Those are two key words when it comes to manhood. You can't.
If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because once Tyrus locked in on Walz, people were stunned. Not because Tyrus is loud, he always is, but because suddenly the spotlight was fixed on Minnesota's relatable dad turned governor. And that polished image started to chip away like pavement after a long winter.
A teacher snatches the bully's ass up. Yeah. Come sit with me. That's what I know. Someone's bullying. Oh, you can sit with me for a while. And then I would lean on him. I'd bully him back. He's not a teacher. He's not a politician. He's a creepy guy who can't remember his speeches. I don't know what the hell was in the water in that White House, or was everyone on the same bad cocaine? But Kamala can't speak. He can't speak. Biden was so high he couldn't remember anything. Like, this is literally the dumbest administration of all time. Why is he talking?
It really is the ultimate clown show. And I said this in the 5. He's a clown without a...
Walz has been packaged as the friendly neighbor, the guy who waves from his lawnmower or shows up at a church picnic with potato salad. But Tyrus isn't buying it. He pokes holes in the act and says, this doesn't look like authenticity. It feels like politics dressed up as small-town charm.
Bad for Elon. I would be furious if I was him. If this is who you sent to troll me?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing wrong to get the guy from D Team to come out at Family Theater and call me names?
Yeah.
Like, Tim, I would, if they were like, oh, Tyrus, man, tough news cycle. Tim Walz is talking about you. I'd be like, old Timmy, I want to fight him so bad.
That's where the first big hit lands. Tyrus doesn't see Walz as the everyman leader. He sees him as a practiced politician, smiling in public while quietly sliding policies under the door. On paper, Walz looks like a movie script. Teacher, football coach, veteran, small-town values. Sounds inspiring. But once he got into office, the script didn't match the performance. And that's when Tyrus really goes digging, because nothing gets people talking more than the gap between what politicians say and what they actually do. Walz's gaps? They're massive. From lockdown rules that made liquor stores essential but closed church doors, to years of policy flip-flops stacked up like trading cards. The inconsistencies add up fast.
Tweets, my DMs, like just one arm, and I just want to slap the. He's so weak. He brings nothing. If you were going to go after someone, man to man, hit him with a fact. Hit him with something real.
Yes.
You don't have anything. And here's the cold part. If Elon called him up and said, hey, Tim, you want a job? He would take it. Because that's what spineless... He would, and when he was questioned, he was like, I was just holding him in account. You know, I respect him, and I'm so happy to be working for X. He is the worst player on their team, and they don't mind sending him out because
They're trying to get him off the table.
Yeah.
They're putting him out early so he can't be a factor later.
One day Walz is on one side. The next day, he's on the other, whichever way the political wind blows. Tyrus doesn't let that slide. He paints Walz as a performer doing acrobatics just to stay comfortable. The kind of flips that could land him in a circus act if politics ever fell through. The disconnect between Walz's image and reality is so wide you could march the entire Minnesota Vikings offensive line through it. And Tyrus isn't just calling out policies. He's calling out the performance itself.
Levine, look, he has a sports coat and a zip-up sweater underneath. No man wears that.
I may have done that in the past.
Yes.
I
You've
won't
done that
now,
many
Tyrus.
times. No, and one day somebody's going to explain what a corporate income tax is to these people. It's not paid by this. It's not paid by the corporation. It's not like a building that goes, I've got to pay taxes. It's the workers.
Let's be real. Politics today is as much about performance as it is about substance. And Tim Walz? He's got the performance down. The tone, the friendly look, the carefully polished, relatable vibe. But to Tyrus, it's all smoke and mirrors. He compares Walz to a magician at a kid's birthday party. Everyone else is clapping at the trick, but Tyrus is the guy in the back yelling, check his sleeve. That's the kind of blunt honesty that sticks. Because once you spot the illusion, you can't unsee it. Walz's ordinary guy persona suddenly looks less like authenticity and more like a political Instagram filter. The cracks showed first during the pandemic. Gyms locked shut while liquor stores stayed open. But the real test came after George Floyd's death. The state was on fire, literally and figuratively. Businesses burning, fear spreading, and leadership was desperately needed. Instead, Tyrus says Walz looked hesitant, frozen, almost hoping the chaos would solve itself. Like a man holding a garden hose at a 5-alarm fire, praying the wind would do the work for him.
That's a big red flag. Whenever you meet someone and they have to give you their resume,
yes.
and then as soon as they talk, you're like, that's why you gave me your resume.
Yeah, because it doesn't speak for itself.
You suck.
Yeah. It's like when people have their PhD on their Twitter handle. It's like, you know, this person's completely bonkers.
And their pronouns.
Yes. Are you mad though, Tyrus, that like beards have been kind of co-opted by beta males like Tyler?
No, because
Watch what you
it's
say.
like all. Wait, hold on. Watch what I say. I will around, stick my hand up your back, and make you my puppet for the rest.
And that's where Tyrus's sarcasm goes into overdrive. He doesn't just say Walz failed. He paints it like a sitcom gone wrong. Imagine your neighbor promising to fix the fence, but showing up with duct tape and a shrug. That's the image he hammers into your head, and once it's there, you can't shake it. Walz stops looking like the small-town dad next door and starts looking like a career politician in plaid. And the brilliance of Tyrus's takedown isn't just in the words. It's in the delivery. He doesn't sound like some stiff analyst buried in spreadsheets. He sounds like that loud uncle at Thanksgiving, the one who finally snaps and says what everyone's been thinking. Walz talks about big promises, free this, expanded that, a future full of opportunity. On paper, Minnesota starts to sound like a Nordic paradise with lakes, loons, and universal health care for goldfish. But in reality, the execution looks more like a middle school group project, where everyone forgot their part until the night before the deadline.
I would have won, Susie would say I would have won Pennsylvania easily anyway, even if the governor ran, the real governor, not the governor from Minnesota, he's a sick puppy, that guy. That poor guy, feels sorry for him. But they made a bad.
That's when Tyrus really finds his rhythm. He says Walz talks like the hero in a Hallmark movie, but governs like a guy ad-libbing at karaoke. You recognize the song at first, but by the second verse, he's mumbling through the words. Take taxes, for example. Walz brands himself the champion of working families. Yet those same families keep opening their mail to find bigger tax bills. Tyrus doesn't bury it in boring budget talk. He paints the picture. Walz sneaking around like a neighbor rummaging through your couch cushions for spare change, then bragging that he funded the future. Meanwhile, Minnesota schools are sinking fast. Test scores are sliding, curriculum battles are exploding, and parents are left confused and frustrated. The irony? Walz was once a teacher who preached responsibility. But now, the state's educational ship looks like it's drifting straight into icebergs, and the captain seems more interested in giving pep talks than steering.
What do you make? Whoa, you got something there?
Hold on, before we do this, man, I got to protein up. Hold on.
Chug, 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 chug. Oh, he's chugging it.
I need more protein, Gutfeld. I got my protein pudding, my protein shakes, jerky if you piss me off, but this ain't enough protein for this segment, Greg. I gotta old school this story here.
Where'd you get that?
And then there's Law and Order, a whole series of contradictions that could fill a Netflix special. Walz plays the empathetic reformer, the leader who preaches fairness and justice. But when the streets erupted, businesses boarded up and people begged for direction. What they got instead looked more like hesitation and delay. Tyrus turns it into comedy. He says it's like watching the governor walk into chaos, clap his hands and say, "All right, everyone, let's calm down," while the scene unravels like a Black Friday rush at Walmart. And when critics press him, Walz pulls out his military background as his badge of credibility. It's supposed to be proof of leadership, but Tyrus calls it out as his favorite fallback card, like a dad pulling out baby pictures to win an argument. Leadership, he says, isn't about what you did years ago. It's about what you're doing right now. And what Walz is doing looks a lot less like leading and a lot more like shape-shifting. Stern when it's safe, cheerful when polls demand it. A mood ring in political form.
Tell you, I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So, you see what I did there? I got to tell you, pointing out just an observation of mine that I made. I just have to say it. You know it, you feel it. These guys are creepy, and yes, just.
And here comes the comedy gold. Tyrus paints Walz as the kind of guy who literally rehearses empathy in the bathroom mirror. Do I look concerned if I tilt my head 30 degrees? Or maybe 45? It's exaggerated, but it lands. Suddenly, you can't help picturing it before every press conference. Then there's Walz's favorite talking point, unity. He loves to preach about bringing people together. Sounds noble. But under his watch, Minnesota has been about as unified as a Monopoly game after 2 hours. Rules argued, pieces scattered. Someone storming off in frustration. Walz rolls up his sleeves, drops a dad joke, and leans into his small-town roots to sell the charm. But to Tyrus, it's no different than a used car salesman tossing on a baseball cap to look relatable. Sure, he looks like he might watch the Vikings game with you, but the car is still broken. The sting, Tyrus says, is that Walz's contradictions aren't just about policies. They're baked into the image itself. He's not the everyman he sells himself as. He's a polished product packaged for maximum appeal.
Former VP nominee Tim Walz, he joined Beto O'Rourke at a Texas town hall last night, and the estrogen levels were enough to give Chuck Norris menstrual cramps. I wonder, is our strength our diversity?
Our strength is our diversity. We've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants, and we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, "You damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them."
So, wait, you lost because you weren't woke enough?
And once Tyrus tears off that packaging, the whole act collapses. You're not seeing Minnesota nice anymore. You're seeing politics as usual, just dressed up in flannel. By now, the audience isn't only laughing, they're nodding along. The contradictions stack higher, the irony cuts deeper, and the humor makes it unforgettable. Tyrus shifts gears here. He stops roasting Walz as just one politician and uses him as a symbol, a stand-in for leaders everywhere who say one thing, do another, and expect applause for the performance. His closing metaphor nails it. Walz running Minnesota is like someone trying to build IKEA furniture without the instructions. The pieces don't fit, screws are missing, and the whole thing wobbles if you lean on it. But there he is, gripping the Allen wrench with confidence, insisting, "I've got this under control." By that point, Walz doesn't look like the steady, relatable leader his team sells. He looks like a flimsy stage prop, and the crowd can't stop watching, because once someone pulls back the curtain, you can never look at the act the same way again.